I'm honored to be joined today by Director James Comey of the FBI, by Acting U.S. Attorney Kelly Curry here in the Eastern District of New York, and Chief of Investigation Richard Weber of the IRS's Criminal Investigation Division. We are here to announce the unsealing of charges and the arrests of individuals as part of our long-running investigation into bribery and corruption in the world of organized soccer. Now, many of the individuals and organizations we will describe today were entrusted with keeping soccer open and accessible to all. They held important responsibilities at every level, from building soccer fields for children in developing countries to organizing the World Cup. They were expected to uphold the rules that keep soccer honest and to protect the integrity of the game. Instead, they corrupted the business of worldwide soccer to serve their interests and to enrich themselves. This Department of Justice is determined to end these practices, to root out corruption, and to bring wrongdoers to justice. Now, the 14 defendants charged in the indictment we are unsealing today include high-ranking officials of FIFA, the international organization responsible for regulating and promoting soccer, leaders of regional and other governing bodies under the FIFA umbrella, and sports marketing executives who, according to the indictment, paid millions of dollars in bribes and kickbacks to obtain lucrative media and marketing rights to international soccer tournaments. The 47-count indictment against these individuals includes charges of racketeering, wire fraud, and money laundering conspiracies spanning 2 decades. FIFA and the regional bodies under its umbrella make money in part by selling commercial rights to their soccer tournaments to sports marketing companies, often through multi-year contracts covering multiple editions of the tournaments. Now, the sports marketing companies, in turn, sell those rights downstream, that is, to other TV and broadcast networks, to corporate sponsors, and to other entities for significant sums of money. Beginning in 1991, 2 generations of soccer officials, including the then presidents of 2 regional soccer confederations under FIFA, one being the Confederation of North, Central American, and Caribbean Association Football, known as CONCACAF, which includes the U.S., and the South American Football Confederation, or CONMEBOL, which represents organized soccer in South America, used their positions of trust within their respective organizations to solicit bribes from sports marketers in exchange for the commercial rights to their soccer tournaments. They did this over and over, year after year, tournament after tournament. In just one example, in 2016, here in the United States, we are scheduled to host the centennial edition of the Copa America, the first time that tournament will be held in cities outside of South America. Our investigation revealed that what should have been an expression of international sportsmanship was used as a vehicle in this broader scheme to line executives' pockets with bribes totaling $110 million, nearly a third of the legitimate costs of the rights to the tournaments involved. Now, the criminal activity that we've identified did not solely involve sports marketing. Around 2004, bidding began for the opportunity to host the 2010 World Cup, which was ultimately awarded to South Africa, the first time the tournament would be held on the African continent. But even for this historic event, FIFA executives and others corrupted the process by using bribes to influence the hosting decision. The indictment also alleges that corruption and bribery extended to the 2011 presidential FIFA election and to agreements regarding sponsorship of the Brazilian national soccer team by a major U.S. sportswear company. In short, these individuals, through these organizations, engaged in bribery to decide who would televise games, where the games would be held, and who would run the organization overseeing organized soccer worldwide, one of the most popular sports around the globe. And while at least one FIFA executive served as CONCACAF president without pay, there was little altruism involved, as he alone is alleged to have taken more than $10 million in bribes over a 19-year period and amassed a personal fortune from his ill-gotten gains. Now, in many instances, the defendants and their co-conspirators planned aspects of this long-running scheme during meetings held here in the United States. They used the banking and the wire facilities of the U.S. to distribute their bribe payments, and they plan to profit from their scheme in large part through promotional efforts directed at the growing U.S. market for soccer. In addition to the indictment, we are also unsealing today the charging instruments of 4 individual and 2 corporate defendants who have already pleaded guilty to their involvement in racketeering activity and other criminal conduct. Among these defendants are a U.S. sports marketing company, a Brazilian sports marketing executive, and a U.S. citizen who, in addition to being the former General Secretary of CONCACAF and a member of the FIFA Executive Committee, was a beneficiary of the 2010 World Cup bribery scheme. All told, these defendants have agreed to forfeit over $150 million in illegal profits that they've made from these crimes. And finally, we are also announcing that agents this morning have begun executing a search warrant at CONCACAF headquarters in Miami, Florida. CONCACAF, plainly an organization in crisis, we have already reached out to its representatives this morning to ensure that the people of integrity who work there know that we stand ready to work with them to reform their practices in the wake of the actions that we are taking today. Earlier today, Swiss authorities in Zurich arrested 7 of the defendants charged in this indictment, including the current president of CONCACAF. We are also in the process of seeking the apprehension of additional defendants. All of these defendants abused the U.S. financial system and violated U.S. law, and we intend to hold them accountable. Going forward, we welcome the opportunity to work with our partners around the world to bring additional co-conspirators and other corrupt individuals to justice. Today's action is a testament to the tireless efforts of federal prosecutors here in the Eastern District of New York, as well as the New York Field Office of the FBI and the Los Angeles Field Office of the IRS Criminal Investigation Division. I want to thank all of the agents, prosecutors, law enforcement officials, and analysts who contributed their time and their talents to this extensive investigation. I also want to recognize Acting U.S. Attorney Kelly Curry for his leadership of this U.S. Attorney's Office. And I want to express my appreciation for the cooperation and the assistance that we have received from our international partners, particularly the Swiss authorities. I want to make clear that the defendants arrested in Zurich this morning have the right to a fair and impartial extradition process, and they will receive a fair trial if they are brought to this country. Now, at this time, I'd like to introduce the current U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, Kelly Curry, who will provide additional details on today's announcement.
Good morning. The 14 defendants charged in this indictment held a variety of roles in the soccer and World Soccer Organization. The soccer officials charged were responsible for developing and promoting international soccer, and the marketing executives that we charged were hired to promote that sport. But what they did have in common was greed that drove them to use and exploit their positions for cash. You'll see here on 2 of the exhibits that we have that are part of your press packages today, the enterprise that's charged here. You'll see FIFA at the top and its confederate continental organizations, that's confederations underneath, including CONCACAF and CONMEBOL, the regional federations that are constituent members of FIFA, and the national federations. As you know, there are 209 national associations, including the United States, and other member nations of FIFA. Also part of the enterprise charge is the sports marketing companies. And as the Attorney General said, taken together, these entities comprise an enterprise of folks who work together for a legitimate purpose, which is regulating and promoting international soccer. However, as alleged in the indictment, what these defendants did was, with their co-conspirators, they corrupted the process. They corrupted the enterprise. Now, some of the officials charged in the indictment today held many roles in these organizations. For example, the defendant, Jeffrey Webb, he is a vice president and on the executive committee of FIFA. He also holds the role as president of CONCACAF. He's also on the executive committee of the Caribbean Football Union and president of the Cayman Islands Football Association, one of the national federations of part of FIFA. Jeffrey Webb used his position in these various roles, his position of trust, his fiduciary duties, to solicit and collect bribes from sports marketing executives who needed his support to get contracts to promote tournaments. The second, the sports marketing bribery chart that you have as part of your materials exemplifies many of the schemes we've charged. Of the 12 different schemes we've charged in the indictment, 9 are sports marketing schemes involving soccer tournaments. Now, just to walk you through the board, the business relationships that are represented, how they're supposed to work, are represented by the clear arrows. The tournament organizers, like CONCACAF, like FIFA, their role is to sell the marketing rights to a marketing company who in turn sell those rights downstream to broadcasters and corporate sponsors. What you see in the red arrows depicted there are and the role of the corrupt officials is that the corrupt officials solicited bribes in order to support bids by sports marketing companies, and in exchange, the sports marketing companies received these valuable contracts that, for example, the sports marketing companies often cleared millions or tens of millions of dollars in profits from promoting a single soccer tournament. The bribes were often funneled through intermediaries, both companies and individuals, who assisted them in disguising the bribes, often using the U.S. banking system and transferring funds to the United States. Now, as I mentioned, going back to the Enterprise Board, the entities that are at the core of our indictment are the Continental Confederations of CONCACAF and CONMEBOL, but other parts of FIFA are implicated as well. As the Attorney General mentioned, the World Cup 2010 selection bribery scheme, which is described in the indictment, alleges that in connection with the selection of South Africa to host the 2010 World Cup, there were bribes paid in connection with that scheme, and South Africa is one of the members of the African Confederation. In addition, the 2011 scheme to influence the presidency of FIFA, the Asia Football Confederation high-ranking official involved in that scheme was involved in paying bribes as part of that FIFA presidential election. Now, this sort of bribery and corruption in international soccer has been going on for 2 decades. Our investigation, the hard work that led to the charges here today, that itself took years. And the prosecutors who brought that case are here today, led by Evan Norris, also Amanda Hector, Darren Laverne, Sam Nitza, Keith Edelman, Brian Morris, with their partners at the FBI and the IRS criminal investigations. Their work resulted in the indictment. It's a significant step. But I want to be very clear. This is the beginning, not of our effort, not the end. We look forward to continuing our work with our international partners and any others who are willing to work with us as we seek continuing our effort to be successful in ridding global soccer from this type of corruption. I'm going to now turn the podium over to Director James Comey of the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Thanks, Kelly. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to join the Attorney General and the U.S. Attorney to announce this important case, which demonstrates, I believe, that if you touch our shores with your corrupt enterprise, whether that is through meetings or through using our world-class financial system, you will be held accountable for that corruption. Nobody is above or beyond the law. These cases require a tremendous amount of hard work by gifted prosecutors and investigators. That hard work, in our view, is worth it. There's a danger that cynicism creeps into our lives and that folks shrug and say, well, that's just the way things are. That may be the way things are, but that is not the way things have to be. And one of the important lessons of this case is that we will not stop until we send messages that this is not the way things should be and that they must be different. Soccer, football, is an egalitarian sport. It is the beautiful game because the pitch is flat. It is available to anyone and everyone, no matter where you come from, rich or poor, boy or girl, you can enjoy the beautiful game. It has lifted billions around this globe and is an incredibly popular and fast-growing sport here in the United States. The game, according to the allegations in this indictment, was hijacked. That field that is so famously flat was made tilted in favor of those who were looking to gain at the expense of countries and kids who were enjoying the game of soccer. This hijacking is being met with a very aggressive prosecutorial response in order to change behavior. As the U.S. Attorney said, this investigation has been long and painstaking, and it is not over. And the work will continue until all of the corruption is uncovered and a message is sent around the world that this conduct will not be tolerated. I want to thank especially our prosecutors and investigators here in the States, but also our prosecutors and investigators who joined us around the world, especially our colleagues in Switzerland. Now I'd like to introduce the Director of the IRS Criminal Investigation Division, Rich Weber.
Good morning. It's great to be batting cleanup here today. First, let me start by saying I'm honored to stand here with the Attorney General of the United States, the U.S. Attorney, and the FBI Director to announce the charges today in this important case. And I'm incredibly proud of the work, the tremendous work of my agents at the IRS Criminal Investigation Division. Years of hard work, and that work is not done. Today is a good day for soccer fans, and it is a great day for the global fight against corruption, money laundering, and international tax evasion. Whether you call it soccer or football, the fans, players, and sponsors around the world who love this game should not have to worry about officials corrupting their sport. This case isn't about soccer, it's about fairness and following the law. FIFA's official slogan is "for the game, for the world," but the co-conspirators in this case corrupted the game for the sole purpose of personal gain, not for the game and certainly not for the world. Their actions were for themselves, for their own greed. Spanning over several continents and dozens of countries, this investigation conducted by IRS, CI, special agents, and the FBI was complex and thorough. The indictments and guilty pleas announced this morning highlight what can happen when those in positions of power abuse that trust, engage in undisclosed self-dealing, and misappropriate funds. One of the defendants in the investigation, Charles Blazer, decided very early on that he would use his position as a FIFA official for personal gain. As General Secretary of CONCACAF and a FIFA Executive Committee member, he received bribes and kickbacks in exchange for votes. Additionally, for the years 2005 through 2010, Blazer failed to accurately report his income to the IRS, amassing more than $11 million in unreported income. In addition to the charges announced today, the government is also seeking the forfeiture of all property obtained from the proceeds of the various schemes outlined by the Attorney General and the U.S. Attorney. To date, more than $151 million has been identified. As the best financial investigators in the world, IRS-CI special agents exposed complex money laundering schemes, uncovered millions of dollars in untaxed income, and discovered tens of millions of dollars hidden away in offshore accounts in countries like Hong Kong, the Cayman Islands, and Switzerland. This really is the World Cup of fraud, and today we're issuing FIFA a red card. This investigation is not over. IRS-CI special agents will continue to work with our partners at the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office, and will work with our international partners around the world to bring justice to those who would cheat the financial system and who play by a different set of rules. Today's indictment and our criminal investigation will root out those who seek to corrupt the beautiful game.